Sometimes it's good to know where you're going. Other times it's great to know where you've been. For me, it began in the back of a police car. I'm 24 years old, driving home from a all-day binge drinking in Iowa City at a Iowa football game, and got caught, stuffed in the back of a police car. And that was the start of my journey. From the moment my parents brought me into the living room when I was 12 years old to tell me they were divorcing, that became a period of my life which went on until I was 24, which became just a rage against the machine. If you said left, I was going right. If you said right, I was going left. It became something that now I see as wanting to find acceptance. Maybe in some way I'm still doing that now, but through a much healthier channel. But it became withdrawing, then coming from a household where my father was an alcoholic, ended up leaving, but those seeds got planted. And so early in my high school years, I started to follow that blueprint that so often plays out, which is I'll never be like my father, and I end up starting to become exactly like what I swore I would not. And I was finding my place, my acceptance in being the kid to be the life of the party, drink too much, stay out too late, all of those things. And after 10 years' time, years before knowing I had a problem, and also recognizing that I had very little self-worth or qualities that I would be proud of, let alone anyone else on the planet. But I just didn't have the guts to stop, to leave the social circles, the circles of acceptance. And I'd had a drunk driving 2 years before and stopped for a few months, which meant I had it all under control, and then slowly fell back into the same habits. And fortunately, it didn't kill me. And getting stuffed in that police car in Coralville, Iowa, just before I turned onto I-80, which I'm certain, and I knew at that very moment, would have been the night that I ended up dying, maybe killing someone else in the process. They stuffed me in that cop car, and I knew at that moment, completely drunk and suddenly completely lucid and at peace for probably the first time since sitting in that living room as a young kid, that this was the start of a new life for me. This was where I'd gotten myself in so much trouble that I now wouldn't have to answer to anybody. No one would question that I had a problem and that I needed to get help. That was the point where I realized at my absolute core that if I didn't change, I was a dead man. Now I can begin the long trek back to find myself. And so that's where it started for me.